Are either of you guys even sane? Julia? What are you talking about right now? There's no way I'd be able to live with my mother-in-law. So I think you're going to really regret the choice you've made, Paige. Do you know what I'm talking about? People say that the moment you start to have your parents living with you, it's game over. I'm sure there are plenty of people in this world that don't like to live with their parents or their partner's parents, but I don't really mind the idea of it. And up until now, my mother-in-law has been taking very good care of me and my husband. So as a way of showing our appreciation for her, we're having this new house built for all of us to live in. We're not going to regret any of this. We'll have to see about that. And if you have that kind of money to build a place like that, how about you give us some too? You both just love all your money, so that has to mean you guys are taking in all kinds of money from your jobs, right? How about this? You send me $1,000 every month, please. Stop joking around about that stuff. We already sent you some money last month, so you're fine. And if that wasn't enough for you, then maybe you need to get yourself a financial advisor or something. You actually think that money you sent me was enough? I was wanting you guys to give me close to $2,000, yet all you sent me was $1,000. You'd better thank me for letting you get away with that then. I don't have anything to really say about what happened then, Julia. How about you have a word with my husband since he was in control of the amount of money we gave you? I can go talk with him. My little brother always listens to anything I have to say. By the way, how have things been going with Ben? Huh? Ben? Why are you worried about my little boy right now, Paige? Because the last time I had met with him, he didn't seem to be doing all too well. Have you been making sure to feed him enough? He's a little kid still and has a lot of growing to do, which means he's going to need as much food as you can give to him. Shut up, Paige. He has nothing to do with you. Are you done now? I want that $1,000 into my account by the beginning of next week. Congratulations on getting the brand new house all built. Thank you very much. I had some stuff to talk with my mom about a little bit ago, so I came over to visit. And I have to say, you guys really did have a large and beautiful home built for yourselves. The place is pretty massive, and the kitchen seems to be where you guys spend most of your money on the house. I am very jealous of what you guys made. So why are you wanting to talk with me now? Did you just want to say congrats on us getting our new house? Because I have a pretty good feeling that that's not all you have to say to me today. You seem to know me better than I thought you did. To tell you the truth, when I was over there today having a look around the new house with my mom, I became very jealous of the place. It's not like you and my brother are going to have any kids yet, right? I happen to have Ben right now, and he is still so young and requires a lot of my attention. And having to take care of him in my tiny apartment is way too difficult of a task for me to always manage. So I started to think to myself that we'd come and live at that house. What exactly do you mean by that? I'm telling you to get the hell out of that house. Can't you see that's what I'm saying? I heard from Mom that the owner of that house is my dad, which means that I can have you kicked out of there, and that won't be a problem for any of us. There is still the loan on this house, though. If we're to leave this house like you've asked, will you be able to take care of it all by yourself? A loan, huh? I heard that all you have left to pay is another $80. All I have to do is not pay my rent next month and end my time here. And I can use that money to pay the loan off and have enough to get myself some amazing furniture that suits me. Although I'm pretty sure that my mom and dad will pay that $80, so I don't need to worry one bit. Understood then. If that's how confident you really feel about things, then your brother and I will go. I can't believe you're not even trying to fight back. I'll go ahead and let my parents know for you both that I am moving in there with Ben and taking your place. However, it might be better that I say you both left without saying anything to them and come save the day by living with them instead. I'm still with my mom, so I can tell her all about that right now. And once we are out of this house, you have to make sure to pay off the remaining $8,000 of the loan. What? $8,000? I think you added 2 extra zeros there, you idiot. You really think I'd move in there if there was still $8,000 that needed to be paid off? The thing is, though, I'm not mistaken. Oh, come on now, Paige. That is way too high of a number compared to what my mom told me. You can give up trying to shock me into leaving you guys alone now because it's not working on me. I've already told you both to get out of that house, so get whatever things you have to take and leave. Hey, John. Just a second ago, I got a few texts from your sister.
From Julia? And what the heck does she want with us this time? Is this another one of her plans to try and get more money from us or something?
Well, this time it's not about money going to her particularly.
So?
She told me that she'd be moving into the brand new house we just had built and will be coming with Ben. So she's told me that you and I have to leave now.
Really? There's no way my sister is going to be able to pay off the remaining loan on the house. So what does she think she's talking about? Did you tell her how much is remaining to be paid?
I told her the amount, but she didn't believe me. She also said that she's going to tell your parents that we're leaving and that she's going to be moving in with them instead.
I see. So she's still having those same old issues like before. Only thinking about herself in every situation and thinking that things are far better than they really are. And since both my mom and dad are very gullible, they are bound to believe every word that comes out of her mouth.
But that was something that really helped you and I out in the past. It was because your parents are so open to what people say and will listen that they were able to help us out.
I'm aware of that, Paige.
But Julia's already told your mom that we're leaving, most likely.
You don't really have to worry about them. You and I have a life of our own together now, so there are other places we can go live. It's not like I really like the plans that were made for that house anyway. So let's do as Julia has said and get out. I'm sure she'll have a blast not being able to pay off the rest of that loan as well.
All right. When I get home from work today, I'll get my things together and then start to work on yours.
I'll try to get out of work early today and come home to help you as soon as I can. But man, how many times is it going to be for Julia before she realizes that she no longer needs to come and steal our things? Sorry that she's always been such a pain in our asses.
You don't have to apologize about it, since it seems as though you take most of the damage from her. So don't worry about me. This house you guys had built for us is freaking amazing! All of the rooms here are so open, and the bathroom is like something from a resort. This whole house is way better than all the places I've had to live before. Thank you so much for this perfect home. So things are going all right for you there? What? You don't seem to be in too high of spirits right now. Could it be because of all the times I've taken things from you and now you've even lost your brand new home? That's too bad. Because you're not getting anything back from me. My mom and dad haven't said anything outright about this, but I can tell they are far happier having someone in the house who is a kid rather than 2 useless adults. Your mom and dad aren't those kinds of people. Remember that no matter how much you whine about things, you're always going to stay a loser. But there is one thing that you guys have won at, and that's making all that money in order to take care of me. You're both like my ATMs, and my goodness, is it great getting everything I want. Would you cut all that talking out? You know better than anyone else that John and I have been sending you more than you've deserved in money. And you've never even thanked us for any of that, only coming back to ask us for more and more. Both of us have only been sending you the money because we're worried about Ben, but we will not sit around and do everything you say anymore. Do you even know how much money the two of us have sent you thus far? I've never even bothered to care about the combined amount of money you both send me. It's been about $20,000 now, all right? Do you seriously just think of us two as your ATMs? Well, if you're not my ATMs, then I guess I think of both of you as servants, or even my slaves. Anyway, I have the perfect way of describing you both, and that is as my right and left legs. So you feel as though you're royalty or something? Understood. I was thinking of still sending you guys some money from now on, since you have your mom and dad living with you as well now. But that's not happening after hearing how you think of us. We don't need any of your money. All we have to pay off is another $80, and then this house is ours for good. Easy. You think so? Then I'm really looking forward to hearing about next month from you. Stop acting like such a sore loser, please. Hey, you! You both set me up or something. I just got a notice in the mail for a foreclosure. What the hell is happening over here? I already went to Dad and handed him the $80 that he needed for the rest of the house, but things felt off between him and I. So I then went and had a look at his bank account to see why he was so upset, and there I saw that all the previous payments on the house were made by you, sending him $7,920? I didn't know that there was still another $8,000 that needed to be paid. I'm going to sue both of you for scamming me. Are you having trouble understanding things there? I already told you the correct amount a little over a month ago of how much still needed to be paid. Yet for some reason you just led yourself to keep believing that all you had to pay was $80 and not a single cent more. So that is all on you for misunderstanding. I never misunderstood anything. I was told by Mom and Dad that they were paying $80 a month for the past few years now while that house was being built. They weren't lying. John and I told them all they had to pay us was $80 a month and that we'd be handling the rest. Huh? We were finally being able to build and live in our own house. And that even gave John and I the chance to design how we wanted some of the interior to be, although your parents both had a say in some of it as well. Your mom even told us to get whatever furniture and appliances we wanted in the house, and so that's what we did. How does that have anything to do with me right now? We were given the chance to do pretty much whatever we wanted with the house and the furnishings, so as a way of saying thank you, we only asked that your parents pay $80 a month. Originally, that house was made for your mom and dad to be living in, so we didn't want them paying a dime for it. But no matter how many times we told them they didn't have to help pay, they kept on pushing. So we settled on them giving us $80 a month to go towards paying off the loan. I don't think either of them ever said that the remaining value that needed to be paid off was $80. What was that? By the way, why would we ever leave $80 remaining that needed to be paid off for the following month? If we had really been in such financial trouble to where we couldn't just pay that little bit extra off last month, then we wouldn't have had that house built in the first place. But what you're saying is that you've had to pay $8,000 a month on that place? We thought it would be best to pay off that loan as soon as we could. Both John and I know a thing or two about paying off large loans, and it's best to take care of them before too much time goes by. So don't you start complaining to us about how much we've been paying. If something like that was really a thing, then you should have told me that before. You both really did set me up to fail here. As a way of getting a settlement from you, I want you to pay off the rest of this loan. I really have no idea what you're talking about. Why would we ever pay off the rest of a loan on a house we're not even living in? You think that you can really say something like that? If we end up having to lose this house to the bank, then your favorite mother and father-in-law will both be forced to go and live on the streets. If they really do have to leave that house, then we'll just have them come and live with us at our new house. Huh? John and I bought ourselves a condo a while back as a minor investment. The last person who we were renting it out to had moved out, so there was nobody in it, which made it the perfect place for us to move into. You think you can just start acting all high and mighty now just because you had one backup plan that worked out for you? Did you get that condo out of spite because the rest of us have no money? Do you really think John and I are that pathetic? Anyway, we're not going to help you pay off the loan on a place in which neither of us are currently living. You figure out how to pay off the remaining $7,920 by yourself now. You scammers! John! Whatever happened to you putting a damn leash on your wife? Go and take care of her right now for what she's been doing. She needs to be taught a lesson for fighting back against me.
Don't talk about my wife like that.
I was thinking that Paige was a lot weaker than you in terms of your spirit and would be able to manage her myself. But I can't take her anymore, so I'll have to talk with you now. From now on, I want you to pay off that remaining $8,000.
But aren't you to blame for all that's happened here in the first place, Julia?
And what do you think you're doing, talking back to me like that?
Would you just shut the hell up for 2 seconds and listen? For the longest time now, I've had to struggle through all the BS you've brought into this family and into my life. You are too old now to still be acting like a child, so cut it out.
What do you mean, cut it out? Everyone in this world knows that when it comes to an older sister and a younger brother, the younger brother's things always belong to his older sister.
Well, I don't know about that, and everyone I know doesn't know a thing like that either. I am not your servant, nor am I your underling. Yet somehow, no matter how hard I try to stay out of all your trouble, you would come and fight me for not listening to you. And that's not the only thing you'd do. There are so many things of mine that you've stolen from Paige and I. You've took things like stationery goods from me back in school. And then you started to take money from Paige and I, and then clothing from her. You've even taken things like my debit and credit cards to either take out money yourself or buy things on my card. Because of all that continuing to happen over and over again, all my life, I have come to always think that when something of mine goes missing, it's because you've come and stole it from me. And any time I tried to tell Mom about it, you'd throw an even worse fit. Every time I think back on the days before I was able to leave the house, had to always deal with you on my own, I want to vomit.
What the heck? Are you upset about me wanting all kinds of things from you? Had you just been nice and given me those things I asked for, I would have never had to steal anything from you.
You said that in the past to me as well, and that was all one massive lie. When I started to give you money each month so that you'd stop bothering me all the time, you would still come over and take money from my wallet or Paige's purse. I have been at my limits with you for a while now, Julia. And what you've done this last time has set me over the edge. So I'm going to have a word with Mom and Dad about all you've been doing. I've heard that you lied to them already about why we both ended up leaving that house.
You are not some child anymore, so you shouldn't be getting so ticked off by things like lies anymore. Hell, I'm not going to get upset with you right now over you back-talking me like that. Go ahead and tell them what you have to say about me.
I see. If you really don't mind what all I plan to do, then I'll stop caring about what this will all do to you. I just talked with Dad a second ago. He said that him and Mom will be cutting ties to you now. But there's no problem with that, right? After all, you did just say that you don't mind what I do.
What? You're joking with me about that, right?
Why would I be lying to you about things now? Dad just said to me that by next week, you need to be out of that house. So I hope you know some good connections for housing, because you need to start looking now.
Hold on a second. I still have Ben living over at this house. He's not even in elementary school yet, and you're going to have us kicked out now?
Hold on. Dad never said anything about Ben being kicked out of that house. Just you. Paige and I will be taking care of Ben from now on.
Are you freaking kidding me? You can't just steal my little boy from me.
Who the hell do you think is really kidding around right now? You have a freaking toddler, yet you continue to act like more of a child than him by doing the most stupid things. I think today you're going to hear some things from Mom and Dad that you're not going to like at all. Go and get your things together, because I'm guessing they will want you out of that house sooner rather than later.
Crap. You are all so freaking useless to me. All of this is your freaking fault. You lied to us all now, haven't you? Both of my parents are going to be cutting ties to me, and they will be taking my little boy away from me. I will have nothing now because of you. You're a monster in human form. If this all ends up ruining my life, I'm going to come for you and make sure your life becomes just as screwed up as mine. And if I end up dying because of all this, then I'm going to write down in my final note to everyone that it was you and John that got me killed. You can go ahead and write that note, but I'm not too sure who all is going to be trusting what you say after you're gone. By the way, things have come all this way, and yet you keep saying that this is all my fault and that you hate me. Is there not a feeling of sorrow for what you've done inside that very small and corrupted heart of yours? Not even an atom of sorrow. And that's because I did nothing wrong here. All I was doing was telling you guys that my things were in fact mine. How was me taking ownership of what was all mine a problem for anyone? Nothing was wrong with that. That house was mostly paid for and constructed with the hopes that John and myself, along with your mom and dad, would be able to move into there and live happy lives together. There was not a single thing about that house that had anything to do with you guys. And what I'm saying is that your guys' things are my things. What about that do you not understand? Would you stop talking about how our things are all yours? Do you have any freaking idea how much money we already have given to you and how much we had to put into that house? At first you were saying you'd at least pay us back someday, yet it's been so many years now and there hasn't been a single penny from you yet. And things only become worse after you heard about John and I starting up a decent business together. You would ask for more and more from us and we'd give it to you because we thought you were at least putting it towards food and Ben, but no. You'd been using all that money to gamble, and you would gamble to your heart's content with that money. And from what else I've heard, you were kicked out of your last apartment because you didn't have the money to pay rent anymore. And that was your 6th month in a row of not paying. That's why you came and took our house from us that we had only just moved into. And since then, you've just been going on and on about how you think you deserve everything and that you've been played by John and I. That's all been the last straw for me. At least your mom and dad still care about us and have been trying to help however they can. So would you please just screw off already, because we are trying to enjoy our own lives here. Don't start talking trash about me over there. All I've been doing is living my life, doing the things I have the right to do. Oh, whatever. I'm done talking with you about that. All I have to tell you about is that once we get a hold of Ben, John and I are planning on adopting him. Huh? Why do you think you both can do that? We haven't been able to see him for a month now, and so I've been worried out of my mind about how he's doing. Julia, you've been abusing your son, haven't you? What did you just say to me? Don't even think that playing stupid right now is going to save you. There's already evidence pointing to you abusing your son, so it's over. Your mom even went and took Ben to the doctors when you weren't watching and got a full medical examination done on him. She had him get examined? Now, why would she go all the way out of her way to do that? I get that the kid gets himself into trouble a lot and ends up hurt because of it, but that's just the kind of kid that he is. He has so much energy that he can't control himself sometimes and will run into furniture and the wall sometimes. So don't you dare start saying that I'm abusing him, because I would never do that to a little kid. The doctor told your mom that the injuries he had, like the bruising and such, couldn't have come from just running into things. So stop it with the petty excuses and confess. We know about all the scars he has under his clothing that most people can't normally see. And that's exactly what you've been wanting, right? For none of us to see what you've been doing to him. You are screwed in the head, you monster! You're going to prison for what you've done. Huh? And what makes you think that I'll have to go to prison? Also, Mom had been listening to you guys. She could hear on some nights Ben crying a lot more loudly and with a lot more pain in his voice than normal. You've all been living together, so she could hear all his screams better than anyone else. I hope you're ready for what comes next, you bitch. You're going to court, and then you're going to prison. You're going to take me to court? What? For what? For abusing your child. What else would we be taking you there for? We have all the evidence we need of it, and our lawyers have even stated that it will be near impossible for you to get out of this one. And just to let you know, unlike all the baseless threats you make, this one is very much real. No way, stop all of that. If you really do end up getting the police involved, I'm going to be put away forever. Then what's going to happen to my life? I'll end up dying there. Please do not take me to court and do not tell the police about any of this. I'm not going to stop. We need to make sure monsters like you are put in your cages and placed far away from the rest of us who are just trying to be happy. Paige, please. I will do whatever you ask me to, so please just don't take me to court over this. If I'm taken to court and then sent to prison, that would mean there's a felon in this family, right? You wouldn't want to be related to someone like that, right? So please. I'm cutting ties to you, so I don't care that you get sent to prison. Now it's only going to be a matter of time before the police arrive there to place you under arrest. So get all your things packed up, please, in order to make it easier for the rest of us to pick them up and toss them in the dumpster. Paige! Just a minute ago, I got a call from your mom saying that the police came and arrested your sister.
Is that right? I guess I can let out a small sigh of relief now.
I think tomorrow we should go out with our lawyer and start doing the necessary paperwork to take custody of Ben.
Good idea. I'll give the lawyer a call and get to work on setting the date up at the courthouse.
I know that there have been plenty of times before that we've seen your sister lose her mind and doing the most ridiculous things. But this time, learning about what she's been doing with our money and then with Ben, I can't believe she's gotten this bad, which only goes to show there was never any helping her. John, I'm sure you're relieved to see her go.
This time, even my parents were able to see just how rotten she is at her roots, which means my whole family will now be cutting ties to her, thankfully.
And I'm sure both of your parents, as well as Ben, will be happy to have her out of their lives now for good. I think her arrest is the best thing that's happened in a long, long time.
Make sure to talk with my parents about all of that later. I'm sure they will be happy to hear just how horrible of a person my sister really is.
That's a good point. I guess before we move back to that house, I'll let your parents know everything. John and his family, along with myself, all collected a lot of evidence of the child abuse that Julia's been doing and took her to court over what we'd found with the help of 3 lawyers. And once the case had been finished and there was nothing that Julia could say against the evidence, she was booked at the state penitentiary and will be there for 35 years. We were also able to get $20,000 from her for all the things she had stolen from us. And since we had an IOU of all the money we lent her, which she signed, we got all that money back as well. We also found out that she had borrowed money from plenty of other people and places too, which meant she was in some extreme debt. Of course, after paying John and I the money we'd been able to ask her for, she had nothing else and was taken away to enjoy the next 35 years of her life in a dark and cold cell. And if she's able to make it out of that prison in 35 years, she's still going to have to deal with that debt. So I think we can all agree that her life of freedom and happiness is over with. As for my husband and I, we've been getting our lives back on track, and so far things have been going just fine. Originally, John and I had not been having any luck in making a baby of our own, so by having Ben in our care now, it's like I got to skip the pain of childbirth and have gone straight to the fun part of raising a child. Recently, Ben has started to tell me that he would like a sister, but that might have to wait a year or so, until John and I have figured things out. I know that kids will always say what's on their mind, even if they don't really mean it, but Ben might be onto something when he says he wants another kid to play with at home. At the very least, if things don't work out for John and I naturally, we can always adopt another baby, but then we might call it a day there.